right, let's move along now. Obviously, earlier in the show, we talked about the big news surrounding UFC 151. Obviously, one of the central figures involved in that news story was the man joining us right now on the line, the former Pride champion, the former Strikeforce champion. He is Dan Hendo Henderson, and he joins us right now on the MMA Hour. Dan, how are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for joining us. First things first, how are you feeling? How's the knee feeling?
Knee's doing okay. Just, have to wear a knee brace for a while to let it heal stronger, I should say.
What exactly happened? How did you injure yourself?
Just in training, just sparring, defending a takedown, kind of trying to reverse a takedown and twist it, and the foot didn't rotate. It stuck in the mat, and the knee popped.
Did you know right away that this was serious?
No. I was, it hurt, but not, extremely bad. But, the biggest thing when I started to stand up, try to walk it off, is it was just, felt like it was dangling there, wobbly. And it isn't a feeling I've had before. Even when I tore my ACL in the past, it was still felt stable. So it just felt like it was wobbling all around when I kind of tried to walk it off. So, at that point I was a little bit nervous, but still was trying to make it work.
How long ago did this happen?
It happened probably about 3 weeks ago now.
So you tried to fight through it and thought that you'd be able to be at least somewhat healthy going into September 1st?
Yeah, I had, I was very optimistic. I was told that MCL heals real fast and should do fine. And I had probably about almost just under 3 weeks, just under a month before the fight. So, I was pretty optimistic that it would get better and I was told not to do anything to stretch it and make it feel unstable, and it'll heal up a lot faster that way. And so that's what I was trying to do. So I really hadn't, I could do any of my cross training. I could move around on my feet. As long as I was moving in a forward and backwards direction, it wasn't too bad.
When did you tell the UFC that you injured yourself? Not that you'd be out and couldn't fight, but just that you experienced this injury. I told Dana. I think I tried to get a hold of him a week ago, Monday. So it was a couple weeks after my injury, but I injure myself all the time, and in the past I've had to fight through injuries and still fight no problem, and nothing was different this time in my mind. I was still planning on fighting and being able to get the job done, but I kind of had to test it out and see where I was at once or twice, and that's when I started getting nervous about maybe not being able to fight. Considering all the craziness that has happened since, and we'll get to that in a second, in hindsight, do you wish that you told them earlier so that they can maybe get a replacement on standby?
No, not really. Like I said, I've done this, a bunch of times, as far as getting injured before fights, and I had every intention of thinking I'd be able to fight. And, the more people I tell, the more people that start talking about it. And, it pretty much, the rumors started to run rapid as soon as I did tell, the UFC. And, I didn't need that to happen, going into a fight that I was going to be fighting a little bit injured.
Right.
So, no, pretty much my camp kept pretty quiet, and I didn't need, everybody talking about it if I was going to be able to fight.
What was Dana's reaction when you told him about the news?
Just need to come in and get it checked out by their doctor and see where we're at. And, and I did the next day, and, still had them,
hopes of being able to fight even after I saw their doctor, and it was just about how stable it felt. Like I said, I hadn't given it a full, I hadn't tried to go real hard on it, just based on the doctors telling me to stay off of it. So I did the next day, and it was pretty much a unanimous decision. It was with my camp telling me that I shouldn't be fighting, even though, it was tough for me to come to terms with that. I kind of made sure I listened to them as well and made that decision.
But the good news is no surgery, right?
Yeah, no surgery is needed. It's just a partial MCL tear, and it just takes a little time to have it scarred back down and attached back to the bone.
So how long do you expect to be out for as a result?
I don't know. They're telling me I could start light training probably in 4 to 6 weeks, and then move up from there. Probably be 100% in 3 to 4 months.
So is it safe to say we won't see you again in 2012?
I think I would be fine to be ready by the end of the year. I'd hope to be able to maybe fight on the end of the year show.
Oh,
but
wow.
We'll see.
Anyone in particular that you'd like to fight?
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, I'd like that title fight, and but we'll wait and see what happens.
Are you concerned that they're going to make you fight someone else after you were the number one contender? We've seen this before. Guys get injured and they have to work their way back up.
Yeah, we've seen it both ways, and that's kind of the way. Whatever I need to do, I'm ready to. I just want to fight, and obviously, I think myself and the fans would like to see me have that title fight, especially against Jon Jones. The fight everyone kind of was hoping to see. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but again, I just want to get back in there and fight, and however it works out, that's the way it goes.
You've been fighting since '97. Is it true that this is the first time in your career that you've had to pull out of a fight due to an injury?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I've never done that before. So.
How devastating was it to make that call, especially considering how big this fight was?
It was tough. It was, I never thought I'd have to do that, and I've always been able to tough through injuries pretty well. But even some pretty serious injuries that I've had in the past, I was able to tough through it. But my knee being unstable and not being able to do certain things, really wasn't good if I tried to go in there and I don't think I think it would be a decision I would be regretting for a long time. And I felt like I definitely need to be 100% going in against somebody like Jones, or even close to 100%. And I felt like the fans would like to see me at 100% as well.
Are you surprised that they canceled the event?
I was pretty shocked when I heard that. Well, I was shocked that I heard that Jones wouldn't fight Chael, and and then I was shocked that they had canceled the event as well. I thought for sure they would figure something else out.
There has been some talk that Chael knew about this around when you got injured. You're obviously friends. You've trained together in the past. Did Chael know that you were injured, and is that why he started to all of a sudden ramp up the trash talk? Him and Jon Jones. It almost, as far as the timing goes, it almost happened at around the same time.
Yeah, no, Chael didn't know anything about it. He had, definitely not been training at all. I know that I think my guys told me that Greg Jackson said in an interview that Chael was down training with me, getting ready for the fight, and knew that I was hurt. And, there was nothing like that at all. He wasn't even down here. I asked him if he wanted to come down and help me train a couple months ago, but he didn't come down. So
Are you, it was interesting because when you were on my show way back when this fight was first announced, you versus Jon Jones in April after his win over Rashad, you were one of the first guys to say that maybe what you see is what you get is not what you get with Jon Jones, excuse me, and how some fans maybe think he's a little fake and whatnot. He has been blasted. He has been absolutely annihilated by the fans here, by Dana White. I mean, everyone has really taken their shots at Jon for this decision. Do you think that he has been treated fairly or unfairly by the MMA community?
Well, all I know is, it was his decision not to take a fight with Chael. And, he kind of needs to, I don't think it's unfair that he's been blasted like that. I mean, all I know is, that's not the decision I would have made, but, he's obviously has his own reasons, and I can't think of any reason why I wouldn't take a fight like that. So, other than being injured, if I'm healthy and in shape already, ready to fight that day anyway, it doesn't matter who they want me to fight, I'll fight, especially if I'm champ.
Do you think this is something that he is going to have a hard time living down, that it will stay attached to his resume and just his overall legacy for years to come?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, fans don't forget something like that pretty easily. And, unless he stays in the sport as long as I have, maybe he'll live it down at that point. I don't know. But I know that the fans will definitely not let that one slide for a while.
What was your reaction when you found out that Lyoto Machida turned down a fight against Jon Jones where he had 4 weeks to prepare for it?
I was a little surprised at that, especially coming off of, a fight not that long ago where he should be in pretty decent shape already. But I know, the last time he fought Jon Jones, he stepped up with, not the ideal amount of time to train for it either. I don't know how much time that he had noticed, but, I think it wasn't all that much either. So
it was 2 months.
Well, I mean, even that was, I guess, plenty of time. But I don't know. Couldn't tell you. I know that for myself, if I haven't been training, if I'm not in shape, that's when it gets tougher for me as I'm getting older to take fights on short notice like I used to. I've done plenty of fights on a week or 10 days notice back in the Pride days when they were calling me up last minute a lot of times. But, those times I was training hard all the time, ready for things like that. And my body can't really handle that type of every day, all year long training now. So.
Do you think that the game has changed a little bit with, what happened with Jon, what happened with Lyoto? Apparently Shogun Rua also turned down a fight. Do you think that the psyche of an MMA fighter has changed from those Pride days that you were referring to?
A little bit, and definitely when you get up to the top level and, you don't want to step in that last minute a lot of times. But, like I said, if I had been training for an event and already in shape to fight in that event, if I'm healthy, and I'm going to fight anybody they want at that point. And I was real surprised. I assumed that maybe, that Jon Jones said that, he wouldn't fight him on 8 days' notice, but he'd fight him on the 22nd, but he turned that down also, so, against Chael. So
apparently what happened there was because of the UFC's long-standing relationship with the Mandalay Bay, it was decided that it wouldn't be in the best interest of the relationship to then put that fight on 3.5 or 4 weeks later, so they had to come up with a new fight. You know what I mean? In a different city.
To put Jon Jones and Chael on?
Yeah, because that was the fight that was proposed for September 1st. Jones turned it down. So then to put it on in a new city when you have a great relationship with this, this casino in your hometown, the home base of the UFC, it just wouldn't be in the best interest of the UFC. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess, but I was told that he turned down that fight also. But
what
do I know?
Well, I think you know probably more than all of us. Vitor Belfort, a man you fought back at Pride 32, is now fighting Jon Jones. How shocking is that for you?
That was probably another shocking thing that I heard. So it just all surprised me. Ideally, I think the fans wanted to see Machida step up. If I wasn't going to be able to, so it's too bad that he didn't. And but Vitor's tough. He's dangerous. If he shows up mentally to fight, he definitely imposes a threat. But does he deserve even a title shot? Probably not. So, especially at a weight he hasn't been fighting in for a while. So.
He is a massive underdog going into this fight. Do you give him any chance at all?
He's, like I said, he's dangerous. He punches hard and he's quick. He's southpaw, which is a little bit awkward probably for Jon Jones. But, I think he definitely has a puncher's chance. And if he shows up mentally, yeah, for sure. He comes straight forward and comes at you. And Jon Jones, isn't the best when he's backing up.
Just a couple of minutes left, and we very much appreciate the time. Obviously, we're all bummed that we're not going to see you fight Jon on September 1st. I'm sure you're more upset than anyone. How did you foresee that fight going down? Now that we're so close to it, the way you envisioned it happening, a lot of people thought you weren't going to wrestle with him. Now that you've developed the right hand, some thought you may pull out the old tricks out of the bag. What were you expecting to do against Jon?
Pretty much just stay right in his face and try to beat him up. Make him fight me without running away the whole time and picking me apart. So, it would have required me to really move well on my feet and just to be able to stay in his face, get in the clinch, and beat him up in the clinch as well. But definitely be trying to put my hands on him and knock him out.
Considering the circumstances, how do you think Chael would have done against him?
With Chael hadn't trained in 6-7 weeks, Chael might have done okay the first round, maybe take Jon Jones down and then probably run out of gas pretty quickly.
So you think Jon would have won?
It wouldn't have been, I didn't think it was the smartest move at all for Chael to step up at all. But
wow.
No, I mean not being out of shape.
Right.
And for Chael to take Jon Jones down would require probably a little bit more energy than to bounce around the cage and sport, exchange punches with him. So I think he definitely would have needed a little bit more gas than sitting on the couch for 6 weeks would give him.
Right. And yet Chael was the one who accepted the fight and Jon was the one who said no to the fight. That's probably what makes people so confused about this situation.
Yeah, that's what really confused me. He doesn't want to fight a guy when he's out of shape, wants him to get in shape first. Yeah, I guess that's honorable, but when the fans are counting on you to do that and the guy steps up, I would think that would be a no-brainer. But.
And speaking of confusing, around Wednesday night when all this broke, you sent out a tweet saying that training camp was great, and then all these other guys in your team, Cyril Diabate, a bunch of other guys, retweeted it and were talking about how excited they were to see you fight. You were just trying to mess with us, right? You were enjoying that?
Well, possibly, but I still was able to cross train just fine.
Oh, okay.
And I trained Wednesday real hard, and it might not have been going as well as I would like, but I still trained hard.
You enjoyed that, though. Admit it. Everyone going nuts.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was.
That's what's funny about the rumors, and nobody really knew for sure what was going on, but people making claims that weren't necessarily the right ones. It was a bit funny to me, but at the same time, I did train pretty hard on Wednesday. I tried to give myself a good test, and it didn't quite work out that day.
What I loved about that situation was all the guys attached to the tweet retweeted it with some sort of like words of encouragement within seconds. Were you all sitting next to each other and did this at the same time?
You know, maybe we talked about it. Who knows? Something like that.
Well, Dan, we appreciate the time very much. Get well soon. So for now, we're shooting for the end of the year, the December 29th card. That's the goal?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think I'd be ready by then. But, you know, as soon as I get out of this knee brace in you know, about a month, I'll see where it feels stable-wise and just start rehabbing from there.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Get well soon. Hope to see you back in there very soon.
Appreciate it.
All right. There he is. Dan Henderson joining us on the MMA Hour right now. Obviously, for everyone, I mean, devastating. Your heart has to go out to Hendo. The guy was going to get another crack at the UFC title. Of course, he fought Anderson Silva at UFC 82, lost that fight, fought Quinton Rampage Jackson at UFC 75. That was a unification bout. Actually, both title fights were unification bouts, 75 and 82. Lost both of them. Has seemingly reinvented himself as of late with the right hand. And what's most interesting about what he said was having the injury, suffering the injury 3 weeks ago, only telling the UFC 2 weeks ago. That's a tough one as well. Imagine, I'd love to hear this from the UFC. Imagine he would have told them earlier, just as a precaution. I understand that he has dealt with injuries in his career, but that's, I think, where a lot of people, where they believe that, you know, Chael knew about this earlier, especially considering his friendship with Dan Henderson. But I was assured by Chael Sonnen's manager, Mike Roberts, that that's not true, that Chael found out, like most of us, maybe a little earlier when they approached him about the fight. But as far as what I've heard from everyone involved, Chael did not know. Chael was approached on Wednesday. He said yes right away when other fighters said no. And then, of course, Jon Jones said no as well. So an unfortunate turn of events. And that's really the bottom line in all of this. There's no right answer. There's no black and white. It's an unfortunate turn of events. A lot of people losing out. And really the big winner in all of this, there's two, Vitor Belfort and, of course, Chael Sonnen.